Hello guys, this is my mother and my neighbor. My name is Aytekin Şen. Today I'm going to talk about the neighborhood in my childhood. I feel very lucky about I feel very lucky at the moment as I'm going to talk about a subject I love very much, and I will enjoy talking about this topic, and I hope you will also be entertained listening to my speech about the neighborhood in my childhood. The time era that I was born was the best of my lifetime. When we were kids, the neighborhood culture we lived was very much different to the neighborhood culture we are living at this present. First of all, we didn't have the technology for internet and smartphones. We only had cable phones and we only had cable phones. Not possessing the internet technology meant we spent most of our times outside playing games with our friends from the surrounding neighborhood. We would play numbers of different plays with our friends in our neighborhood. I would like to give some of the names of these games. Perhaps those who are listening to my video from the same generation might remember these games. And they are Bildir Bir, Uzun Eşek, Hamam Kızdı, Yağlı Kayış, Körebe. Also, our child friends from the surrounding neighbors would visit us to watch cartoons together. I would like to give you some of these cartoons names as well. Tom and Jerry, Var Yemez Amca, Voltron, He-Man, Temel Reis. We had our grandparents, and whenever we were bored, we would visit them and stay in their house at the weekends. There were not much buildings around our neighborhood. Instead, there were large areas with trees, and lots of birds used to fly over these trees. We used to make swings to these trees, and we used to sway ourselves over these swings. There were quite many plum and apricot trees around our neighborhood, and we were able to eat plums and apricots in the summer times. Also, in the neighborhood I lived as a child, we used to bake our own breads in the tandoori. We used to grow our own organic tomatoes, organic cucumber, lettuce, onion, other types of vegetables. When the summer times arrived, I used to go to our village where uh, where my other grandparents lived, and I used to help them harvesting their crops, help them herding the cattle and sheep, feed the animals. I used to return back to my parents' house to our own neighborhood when the fall season arrived and would start my school. The neighborhood I lived in my childhood era was not so crowded, and everyone would recognize one and another. Because everyone would trust each other, we didn't have much burglary or any other kinds of criminal activities. There was great understandings of neighborhood in our childhood in the evenings. Surrounding neighbor families would visit us or their other neighbors as an evening guest. Or they would visit, or they would surrounding neighbor. As an evening guest after the dinner. The evening guest, usually after the dinners. Usually after the dinner times. They would wear fine clothes, smell nice, and put a smile on their faces. when they were when they were visiting their neighbors as a guest. When they are let inside of their neighbors two families all together, we would have lovely conversations. When they are the elders used to talk and we used to listen to them. We used to drink Turkish coffee or tea, and we had Turkish delight and biscuits alongside. Most of the time, alongside with the tea. Alongside. Most of the time, we used to watch an action movie from Cüneyt Arkın or a love movie from Kadir Narar all together. Also, helping each other was another important subject in our neighborhood. As a conclusion, socializing socializing in our neighborhood in my childhood era was the greatest example of being socialized all throughout my lifetime. When I remember those beautiful times, people around our neighborhood had a very big smile on their faces and they were very happy